Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being with us on a Friday afternoon. At least we finally got some decent weather here in Tallahassee. Very warm today. I much prefer it over 20 something or 30 something degrees for sure. Thank y'all for joining us for this CAP month webinar number one. What we'll do today is just share with you the tools and the plan for how we're going to increase and really focus on awareness and raising awareness, of course, in April, CAP month, as we call it. I'm going to lead you through a short presentation. Zoe's going to, our communications director, is going to talk about the toolkit. And then I'm also pleased to be joined by our newest staff person, Heather Jones. So thank you all for joining us. So glad to have you with us this afternoon. I'm Chris Lawley. I am the director of Prevent Child Abuse Florida, and it's good to be with all of you again this year. It's been a very interesting time, to say the least, over the past 2 or 3 years, and I really appreciate y'all still being there, still doing everything you can to raise awareness, not just of the fact that child abuse and neglect exists, of course, but what can be done to stop it. And that's one of the main things we want to focus on in April. And of course, we do our best to focus on that all year round. It's really about supporting parents, helping families thrive. So speaking of which, our theme for the year is really going to be about helping families thrive. And we're going to talk a lot about how much difference in a child's life one caring adult can make. If you've seen the Resilience film, then you know that's one of the best things that we can do for kids, but also for parents. Having them be able to have social connections. If you know about the protective factors, and I think most of you do, you know that's one of the most important things, and it's certainly been something that's been a struggle for us lately. I'm glad we've been able to keep in touch on video calls and phone, but something about just being with people really makes a difference in our interaction to me. So I'll look forward to getting to see all of you again as soon as possible. We are focusing, as I said, on safe, stable, nurturing relationships and those safe, stable, nurturing environments that are necessary to help children thrive and families thrive. So I'm just going to lead you through some of the frameworks recommendations that have really been around for quite some time now. But what it said to us now, going on probably 15 years ago or more, is that just like when we're raising our own children, when we wait for them to do something wrong and only react, then they believe that they're only going to get attention when they do something wrong. So what we want to encourage people to do, of course, in terms of positive parenting, proactive parenting, is catch your kids doing something right and praise them for doing something right. Much like that philosophy is the philosophy for helping to raise awareness of abuse and neglect and the things that we can do to stop it before it starts. So frameworks came up with some themes from the research that they did. And one of the main things that they focused on was exactly what I just said. That is, let's focus on what we want, not what we don't want. To be proactive in our presentation, in our interaction, in our promotion of these ideas, the things that we want people to be able to know, the things that we want people to do when they're interacting with others in their community. And of course, all that goes to achieve the highest level of collective impact, to help us be consistent and to help us achieve the maximum collective impact in Florida this year. We know that we need to focus on four main things. And this really binds us all together and helps us make sure that we're maximizing the collective impact and being consistent. So we use pinwheels for prevention. We want people to ask, what is that? We want them to see the pinwheels and say, I wonder what those are for. And some of y'all probably remember a few years ago now, we really started stressing that we wanted people to use signs. And you know, if you ordered your pinwheels early, and I'll give an update on pinwheels at the end today. But if you want the Pinwheels for Prevention name to generate conversation, you want people to see those blue and silver pinwheels and ask the question. If you have a sign there, that's just going to help with our marketing. It's just going to help us make sure that we get the word out, that we get people to go to the website, that we get them to go to your website if you have one that you want to promote. If you want to take advantage of the tools that we offer, and Zoe will go over the toolkit in just a few minutes, then by all means, we want you to be able to do that. We just want to make sure that we're consistent in our use of the name, that we're consistent in our use of the Pinwheels for Prevention logo, and that we're consistent in our use of campaign messaging. And as I said, Zoe will go over some of those in the toolkit in just a few minutes. We asked people to use what we call the national pinwheel because we want them to see the same thing everywhere they turn. We want them to see that we're all working together to do exactly what I just said, and that is achieve maximum collective impact. So I know most of you are already familiar with some of the messaging and the way that we advise and counsel people to do this and to carry out our messaging throughout the month. So one thing we know is that when people hear raw numbers, they're not really meaningful. And so what Framework suggested is we use what they call social math. I need social math. That's really the only kind of math I can do. I teased for years that I have dyscalculia, like a lot of people have dyslexia. And I really didn't even know that that was a real thing until just a couple of years ago. So now I know that, you know, there are folks who struggle like I do with using math and numbers and making them make sense. But if we say things like, last year we served 1 out of every 3 children in our county, people are going to hear that and they're going to say, well, why didn't we serve 3 out of 3? Why aren't we helping 3 families? Why aren't we helping all the children that need help? Why aren't we supporting all the families that need support when they need it and making help available to them, destigmatizing the asks, so to speak? So there's a lot that goes into that. Just to focus on some ideas, though, you can talk about a stadium capacity. You can talk about the number of students that attend a local school. And we want to encourage you to use local stories, use local success stories, whether that's a program like Healthy Families or Healthy Start, or whether that's your agency and your program and the things that you can do for people. We just want to encourage you to offer those situations that everyone can identify with, or that people will recognize as a thing people need help with sometimes, like affordable housing, or the need for, and I'll say, accessible and affordable mental health and substance abuse services. And there are a lot of other things, of course, that people can use and talk about. We want people to use those local stories, like I said, to be able to make an impact through the use of social math and success stories. So we really want to encourage all of you to do that. A couple of other things that we offer for people to be able to help us get the message out to people, for them to hear that having children be free from abuse or neglect, providing those conditions for them to be able to grow up healthy and happy, is to all of our best interests, because they really are the foundation for our entire economic system. Some of you may have heard there's a commercial running now. It talks about it's a mom and dad. They're talking to their baby and they're teasing with him. Of course, you know, it's a commercial after all. And they're saying, who's going to take care of us when we get old? Who's going to make sure that we don't wind up in a bad nursing home? I'm paraphrasing and trying to give you an example of what it really means to think about where children are in our system and what it is that they can contribute to our overall societal well-being. They are the future of our society. Another thing that we can talk about is long-term effects of ACEs. And I probably don't have to tell any of you on this meeting today, but we know that the long-term damage that's done to children's brains at an early age when they suffer adverse childhood experiences is really difficult, makes learning hard, makes it harder for them to be able to achieve everything that they could possibly achieve, to reach their potential, if you will. So we don't want children to be robbed of their potential. So we want to do everything we can to prevent those adverse circumstances. We'll probably never be able to prevent them all. I think one day maybe we'll put ourselves out of business, but for the time being, we're going to do the best we can to reduce, eliminate, ameliorate, make less those situations, because we know children deserve the best that they can get from their environment, from their community, from their caregivers, and we want to support them at the same time as we're focusing on protecting the child. Children belong with their families. Children do best with their families. We want to prevent children from coming into care. We want to get the help to parents when they need it so that they never wind up in those really stressful situations, because we all know stress can be a real killer. And I want to make sure that I give you something to work with. So on our website, again, most of you already are probably familiar with this, but you can find a list of the 10 things you can do to prevent abuse and neglect at preventchildabusefl.org. Don't forget to put the FL in there. You'll wind up at the national site, which is great, by the way. Feel free to check that out, preventchildabuse.org. But you can find everything that we're going to show today and more, including the 10 things you can do, at preventchildabusefl.org. And I'm going to move on now to talk about the toolkit. The toolkit, if you've tried to log into it already, I hope that you saw that we were actively working on it. I think we're really close to being able to have everything in there. I'm going to show you some of the material, and I'm going to ask Zoe to guide us through some of the things that we put in there for all of you. And as soon as I can get out of this screen, I'm going to take you there.
So you'll see at the top of the screen is our image, including the theme that Chris mentioned at the beginning of the call. Everyone can help families thrive, especially you. You'll see at underneath that image, that contact Zoe Linnefeld gives you my email address. So if you have any problems finding anything, or you're not sure what you need, or need any help at all, just email me and I'll get you what you need. If you scroll down a little bit, Chris, you'll see there are some things that are kept from last year, such as the socially distanced events. We also have an updated campaign flyer. Under the Wear Blue Day, there's a link right there to order your shirts. If you'd like I'd like to order a shirt or any other item from the store, use that discount code WEARBLUE22 and you'll save 20% off until March 21st. We are working on a proclamation for April, so when that gets finalized, that'll be uploaded as well. Scrolling down a little bit more, we'll have right now under that customizable documents, we have a sample press release and some great talking points. We'll also be adding a sample letter to the editor and a sample proclamation. You may have materials that you've used in the past. We just like to put everything in one place for you and update anything that needs updating. That social media content gives you lots of images, some GIFs for Facebook. There's also a calendar that you are certainly not required to use, but it does kind of help give you ideas for when you'd like to post everything. So if you go to, social media, these are the covers and frames. So for your profile photo, if you'd like to add one, and this is a nice Facebook cover. Chris, go back to social media, just general, and then go to social media images. And then here is where you'll see lots of different ideas and materials to post. Let's see. And you'll see they're labeled with numbers. Chris, open up number 4. We also have here, we have, I think, 3 quotes from Healthy Families Florida parents. So that helps promote healthy families as well. I just wanted to bring your attention to that. There's lots of different, play around. That social media assets guide. Chris, can you go back to social media? Yeah, social media assets guide is the calendar that I mentioned. So if you scroll down, you'll see.
Yeah, I'm glad you said show this one. I like this one.
Yeah, scroll down and you'll see all the different, sort of a prompt or a suggestion. Definitely not a requirement, but it really does help if you feel like if you're already a little maxed out with your time and projects already happening. It's nice to have something to copy and paste. So those images.
Blue Day, I should have mentioned already, Zoe. April 1st this year is Wear Blue Day.
So that gives you an idea of what type of content or text you could pair with each image, and an idea for what date. You'll see on the left is the date. The videos and GIFs, you'll see GIFs or GIFs, depending on your preference. We gave you some national things to continue just as options. There's one, and then the other one. Yeah, it's just a nice, pretty blue pinwheel.
I like those.
Yeah, if you go back now, I think we've covered all the social media. So that's what you had downloaded. Yeah. That's a little tour. And then we, some people like to have digital backgrounds for a Zoom call. Those, they have a few different options in terms of colors and themes. So take a look and see if any of this.
I use this one all the time.
Yes, you do.
This one a little bit different.
And then the next one, yeah, kind of has a different background color.
In there.
Want to give everyone lots of choices.
Yeah. And this one's not so busy that people get dizzy looking at you. I guess it has a background. One more. All right.
Those are fun if that's something that you found that's useful. All right, public service announcements. Those are what we've already been using. We used those last year. English and Spanish. They have files for posting on YouTube or Facebook, and also there's radio PSA files. If you, for whatever reason, need the broadcast quality TV files, go ahead and email me. So you'll see they're labeled. This is the Helping Hand PSA where
they're all around us. Families with children going about their daily lives.
I'm sorry, that went over you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks have probably seen that already, but you mentioned the radio ads are there and they're available in Spanish too.
All right, going back to the web page. The yard sign art, you can customize the files, add your own logo. That's an 18 by 24 inch yard sign. You can see lots of different, there's different layouts. Some of them give you space to add your own logo. Add partner logo. Do you see the PDF? Next one down.
This one?
Yeah.
There
So you can
it
see
is.
where, yeah, you can customize whatever you like.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go back.
Mm-hmm. All right. The activity pages, these are the Berenstain Bears. There's like one with the sister and a pinwheel, one with brother and pinwheel. There's a family one with a pinwheel. Just something fun if you need an easy coloring activity, or pass them out at an event. I'm a big Berenstain Bears fan. Grew up reading all those books.
Is that enough on that one?
Yeah, they're just different versions. There's one of the whole family and then one with the brother. Yeah.
All right.
All right. And then logo files is just the Prevent Child Abuse Florida Pinwheels for Prevention logo. Try to anticipate every format that you might need. If you don't see the exact format, let us know and we'd be happy to send it.
Wow. We really did try to anticipate every format.
We do our best. And
Yeah.
then also you'll notice that PDF at the top. Yeah, there's different kind of components of it. The PDF at the top tells, gives you some guidelines from the Prevent Child Abuse America team, help you know what rules are important, especially like the colors, the exact names of the colors and how to use the right colors, that kind of thing. So if you have questions or if you have a graphic designer who's asking for a brand style guide, this is what you will share with them.
That's what I would ask for sure. I know exactly what that means.
All right.
Back to the page.
Yep. And then we have our Pinwheel Certificate of Appreciation.
I won't open it.
Okay, it's similar to last year. And then the rest of these are also resources that we decided to continue promoting. They will probably look very familiar to you, but I feel like they're really useful and pretty. So wanted to make sure they were available.
I mentioned this one, so I wanted to make sure that we showed everybody this one.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other ways, y'all know that. I got a list of at least 25, 30 more. So if you need more ideas or if you have a question, anything to do with anything that we're talking about today, I know most of you have our contact information. We'd be glad to talk to you, help brainstorm, really anything that we can do to help y'all figure out how you can do what you want to do.
The last link there is the Plant a Pinwheel Garden link. Yeah, so this is your one-stop shop for all things pinwheel. And the last thing that I will mention about the toolkit is as we have new resources, we will definitely add them here. We will also be adding a PDF of the PowerPoint that Chris has been going through, and we'll be adding the video recording to this page for the webinar for this session, and then also the next few sessions.
Thank you, Zoe. And I want to talk about our focus. I mentioned and alluded to this earlier. Zoe might have referenced the hashtags. If not, I just want to make sure that we cover them here. We're still going to be talking about great childhoods. We're still going to be talking about Pinwheels for Prevention, of course, CAP Month, and Wear Blue. People get really creative with their hashtags, and that's great. But we just want to make sure that we're, again, maximizing the collective impact. Because Zoe, feel free to chime in here, but my understanding is that this, if we use the same hashtags, it's they pool together on the Twitter or social media in general. Am I generally right about that?
Yeah, you can, even if everyone is posting from different accounts, if you use the hashtag on Facebook, for example, or Twitter or Instagram, for example, Pinwheels for Prevention, then you can see all of the posts from everyone about that one topic. So it is nice to scroll through and see what everyone's doing.
Thank you. And of course, my favorite thing to talk about are events and activities. So a while ago when Zoe was going through the toolkit, you saw the links for socially distanced events. So I want to play off that and talk about the fact that we do have the Florida Trucking Association back this year. They are really more limited in the number of events that they can attend, but they're really looking forward to doing as many as they can. We have a couple more that we could probably squeeze in. At this point, I really can't promise that we would be able to, but I can promise you that I would ask. So if anyone on the call is interested in having the large 18-wheel tractor trailer that you can see the picture of the trailer there, it's really beautiful. The colors are nice. It acts as a nice rolling billboard, and they'll bring it if you have room for them to park it near an event like a family day that you might be having, and you want them to have a billboard out there for you. Give us a call, shoot me an email. I'd love to at least ask if they can attend your area. And that does really make an eye-catching display when you have this large, it's about 60 something feet long. So it really makes a statement, and the message that it has on it really goes with what we're talking about and what we want to stress, which is each person, yes, you can make a difference in the life of a child. Those simple everyday actions, whether that's mentoring a child, mentoring a family, whether you're a coach for a youth league soccer team or a little league baseball, whether you volunteer in your school, whether you're a guardian ad litem, no matter what we are doing, what we want to ask people to do, if they're already doing that, is keep doing that. And if they're not, then we want them to consider doing one of those things. And it doesn't have to be complicated. I always like to give the example because some of us who cut our own grass, we know how time consuming that can be. And I'll never forget when my son was born. It was in the at the end of May, so the grass was growing, the weeds were growing, I should probably say. But one of our neighbors came over, cut my grass, and that really just freed me up for a good 2-3 hours. And it caused me a lot less stress than I would have had otherwise, and let me hang out with my son for 2 or 3 more hours on that weekend day. So that's just a simplified example of what some folks can do. We also use food, y'all. Food to me kind of equates with culture and goes with culture. So if you know a family that's having a hard time, you can offer to sit with their children while they go shop for food or take them some food. Either one of those things, just trying to throw out some ideas. I want to touch on a couple of other things that relate to our Florida focus this year. And I'll go back to this to talk about it for just a second. Is we are really wanting to encourage people. We had such a great time with lighting everything blue last year. So if you have a fountain in your community, if you have a bridge in your community, if you have certainly large buildings in your community, healthcare, hospitals, any business that would be willing to put blue lights on their building, whether that's installation of blue lights in a facade, or whether that's putting those blue lights to shine on a fountain, as I just mentioned. We really had some neat things happen last year. If you want to get some more ideas, just go to the website, preventchildabusefl.org, and you can see some examples. One of my favorite ones that I saw last year, actually two of them I'll point out. One was the Sky Wheel in Panama City, and that made quite a statement, having that huge Ferris wheel lit in blue light. That was really neat. And then there were some really cool fountains in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, that really looked good. The city council, the county commission, all those folks that you can partner with, whether they're doing a proclamation, you want to give them some lapel pins. I got a great idea, which we'll share more about in webinar 2 and 3, but I'll just share, since I mentioned giving them lapel pins. We have one partner in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale. They're going to have a lapel pin ceremony for their county commissioner or city council. I can't remember which one it is, but I just thought that was a neat way, not just to draw some attention and get them interested and involved, but also to draw some attention, to get some news coverage. And remember, we will have op-eds, sample op-eds that you can use. If you want to use those to be able to combine those two things, I think that would be great. And again, if you want more ideas, we're going to always be willing to talk to you, brainstorm with you. We can do it on a video call. I've had a good time doing that with a few folks, or you can just call me on the phone, call Zoe. We'd love to talk to you about that. Okay, so I want to give everyone a chance. If you have a question, feel free to chat it in. And I want to ask my partners if you've seen anything, if anyone has any questions, and then we'll be glad to answer them. I don't see any in the chat. I just want to give a chance for Zoe or Heather to say anything that they'd like to say, and otherwise we'll give y'all back 15 minutes of your day.
I don't have anything else to add. I was just going to confirm I don't see any questions in the chat either.
Okay. Thank you. Heather, thank you for helping us today. Anything you want to add?
I just want to say thank you for welcoming me, and I can't wait to be more involved in the Pinwheels for Prevention campaign. Just super excited.
We're glad to have you. All right, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope you have a good rest of your Friday and a great weekend. Tune in to webinar 2 and 3 when we'll share more ideas. Have a great day.